My name is Dane Beatty, and this film I'm working on is called The Uncanny Alley. The Uncanny Alley is a psychological horror film, and it sticks to that traditional formula that most of my favorite classic horror films used back in the day.
After working with Dane on a couple projects, he came to me with the script, and it had this classic horror film vibe that you just don't get from horror films today.
Well, I just moved back from Texas. I had some family issues a long time ago, but I'm glad to be back here.
The idea of the Uncanny Alley actually stemmed from what frightened me the most as a kid. And if you grew up in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, most of the horror films that came out always had that iconic serial killer you could easily identify the film with. My whole approach was to try to bring that concept back and to focus on developing that iconic serial killer that can terrify an audience, leaving them with this haunting image in their heads that makes them want to turn their nightlight on before they go to bed. And it wasn't until I found the perfect mask I could finally bring my idea to life and tell the story that happened 20 years ago about this disturbed young man who at the age of 6 years old stabbed his father to death on the night of his sister Emma's 8th birthday. And the only way he can cope with himself is by blaming his actions from that night on this evil doll named Melinda. He's the closest thing to evil, but comes in human form, and now 20 years later, he's not locked up anymore. So if you hear him whistling his own little theme, just run as far away, don't wait for the scream. His mother died giving birth to him the second he was born. I'd like to introduce to you Milton Claiborne.
I stopped talking to Milton when I realized he was the same person. But I had this feeling last night that he was following me.
A50C.
Take two.
Take two.
Sorry. Can I get you guys something started with
I honestly couldn't be more grateful to be given the opportunity to work with just super talented people.
Dane? Oh, we go way back. When we were kids, I tell you what, it was a lot different. That was my acting debut. When we were kids, we had so much fun acting and making our own little films. About 14 years ago, just shooting on these VHS cameras, and now today is just a different story. Hey, come on in.
It's really cool to see all the editing and lighting and, just all the crews needed. Looking back at that and doing this now with my good friend Dane and acting in one of his movies it's unreal.
Well, no matter how talented the cast and crew has been, unfortunately, we just don't have the budget to take this film to the finish line without some extra support.
I'm never drinking again before yoga.
That's why we turned to Kickstarter, because we've already spent so much time and passion on this film that we can only strive to make The Uncanny Alley the best film it could possibly be.
So if you're a fan of the traditional classic horror film and want to see the rise of an iconic serial killer, we've got a film that is right up your alley.
Or better yet,